Self-service. Self-service is a web-based interactive audit that is replacing our current DARS Web Advisor. In this training, we will show current advisors how to navigate the new self-service for the degree audit. The majority of the functions are the same, but may have a different look. Advisors will be able to access the self-service from their My ASU page from the same icon that is currently used for the DARS Web Advisor. This icon can be found on the left-hand side of the My ASU page. Once the site has accessed, the self-service site can be saved to the favorites on your preferred web browser. Signing into the ASU single sign-in will be necessary prior to accessing single service web page if you're not going through your My ASU website. If you currently have the DARS Web Advisor bookmark, you will need to go through the My ASU and update the bookmark with the new link. When you first access self-service, your home page will have a drop-down box for students and an icon for students. The search for a student can start by either clicking on the drop-down box next to Students and then selecting Search, or you can click on the student's icon. The Students button allows the user to perform a student search by student ID, first name or last name. The question icon opens an information box with instructions on how to search for a student. Enter an ID into your student ID field, then press Submit button or hit Enter on your keyboard. You will need entire 10 digits in order to obtain the student's information. A partial ID will show no matches have been found. When searching by name, know that the first name and the last name fields are interchangeable. Enter the student's full or partial name and click on the search button or hit Enter on your keyboard. A student's last name can be entered into the first name field in self-service and search will show all possible matches. These fields work as a contain field. This means the search will return results for anything containing that name. As you can see from this example, a list of students with the name Jackson as either the first or last name is listed. To select a student from the list, click on the arrow icon to the left of the name. Once you have submitted the student's ID or name in the student search screen, you will be directed to the Complete Audit Request screen. The menu bar contains the following functions: student name and ID, audits, exemptions, and profile tabs, which are located at the upper left-hand side. We'll walk through each of these functions in this training. Consider the Complete Audit Request screen the home screen for the student. This page is similar to the current home page in the DARS Web Advisor. If audits have been recently run for a student, they will appear on this page. From the Audits drop-down menu, you can select Request New to run a new audit or View to view an audit previously run. A new audit can also be requested by clicking on the Run Audit button. This next page has the Request an Audit screen. This screen will list the student's default audit and any other declared program associated with the student's ID. From this screen, you can run a default audit, what if, or specialized audit, and change the settings to run an unmet audit by using the Advanced Settings link. To the right of the Advanced Settings is a note, click to view available options to reveal a drop-down menu to select the unmet audit. Click the Run Declare Programs button to run a new audit against the current default program on the student's record. Once a declared program audit is requested, a Running Audit dialog box will appear above the Complete Audit Request section. The program name and catalog year will not be displayed for the default audit. There is a Cancel Running Audits option on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side below the Update button. The Update button is the refresh button. Once the audit run has been completed, the most recent run audit will appear at the top of the completed audit request list. On this screen is the link to the View Audit, audit type for the either default audit or the what if audit, title, degree title, catalog year, time and date, who requested the audit, and a delete option. In the current DARS Web Advisor, the audit will automatically open in a new tab. In the self-service, the audit will automatically open the same tab by left-clicking the View Audit link to the left of the chosen audit view. To open audit in a new tab, Click on the View Audit link, and a drop-down box will appear with options to open the audit in a new tab. There are similar details on the self-service audit as it is with the old DARS Advisor audit. The new audit will have a white background with a black font. The name of the student and the degree program are listed at the top center with other student information directly below. A user can return to the Request an Audit screen directly from the audit by clicking on the Request Audit button on the uppermost right-hand corner of the screen. These options are open in the same tab and replaced the current screen. An enhancement to the audits is the interactive information icon. Clicking on the question icon will open up the legends box that helps to explain the icons that are used throughout the audit. You can find this icon at the top of the audit and at the bottom of the legend. A red box with an X icon designates a requirement or a sub-requirement that has not been completed. A green box with a checkmark icon designates a requirement or sub-requirement that has been completed. A green box with three-dot icon designates a sub-requirement that is in progress. The title of the requirement will remain in a black bold font rather than a green or red bold font that is in the old DARS Web Advisor audit. Here is a comparison of a requirement in the new self-service audit on the right and the old DARS Web Advisor on the left. For the requirement level, a red box with an X in it designates a requirement that has not been completed. A green box with a check mark within it designates a requirement that has been completed. These same icons have replaced the plus and minus signs that were used for the sub-requirement levels in the DARS Web Advisor audit. The title of a requirement will remain in the black bold font rather than change from the red to green bold font when a requirement level has been completed. Courses that fall into a sub-requirement will be highlighted in the light gray to emphasize that that course has met the requirement. The course links continue to link to the ASU catalog. It states at the top of the audit that if all the requirements have been met, shows up in different ways depending on where the student is at with regards to completing the audit. If at least one requirement has not been completed, the statement is in bold red font. If the student has met all the requirements, but in-progress courses are being used, the statement is in a black bold font. If all the requirements have been met, the statement is in a green bold font. Options requirements are still designated with the OPT for optional preceding the title of the requirement. Optional requirements are not required to graduate, but in audits for informational purposes either on the university or the college level. The legend at the bottom of the page is considerably shorter and user-friendly. Using Select a Different Program option, the user can opt to run an audit against the degree program that is different from the one on the student's record, thereby creating a what-if scenario. To run a what-if audit, start by requesting a new audit from the Audits drop-down menu. Then, click on the Select a Different Program link. A box will open up to allow you to request a different audit. The drop-down boxes on each field works as the current on the DARS Web Advisor system. In the degree section, a letter of interest, area of interest, and field specialization will need to be selected. In the degree program section, a list of programs that meet this criteria will be provided. Choose the program you wish to run. Select the catalog year. Only catalog years available for that program will be displayed. Once this is completed, click on the Run Different Program button. A what-if audit will be designated under Audit Type. To run a specialized audit such as Transcript A or Transcript C, follow the same steps as running a what-if audit. In the degree fields, use the drop box to change the dash option to the blank option. In the degree program section, the drop box will list a selection of specialized audits to choose from. Choose the most recent catalog year and then click the Run Different Programs button. To add an exception to the student's audit, click on the Exceptions tab. Then click on the Add Exceptions button. The layout of the self-service exception list is the same as the old DARS Web Advisor view. You can choose an exception by clicking on either the title of the exception description or the exception code. The only exceptions the advisor has access to will be displayed. All fields are displayed and worked like DARS Web Advisor. The plus/minus fields are automatically filled with a numerical value of 0. These fields must always have a number value. If you do not need to manipulate these fields for your exception, please leave the 0 in them. Fill in the exceptions field with the appropriate information. If your exception is completed, click the Save button. If your exception needs courses added, click on the Add Course button. When adding courses, add 2 spaces before the course prefix in the appropriate fields. Then click Add to List button. If more courses need to be added to the exception, follow the previous step. There is no need to save the exception in between adding courses to the exception list, as it is in DARS Web Advisor. Once you have finished adding courses, click on the Return button. Once the courses are added and you have returned to the exception page, click on the Save button. If a required field is left blank in the exception and the Save button is pressed, the exception will not save. The fields that are in error will show in red to be completed. Click on the exceptions code to enter the View Only screen. In this view, no editing can be done to the exceptions. To return to the exceptions page, click on the Done button. To add the exceptions, click on the Edit checkbox of the exceptions that needs correcting. You can only edit exceptions if you have access to create the exception. A lock will appear if you do not have the ability to edit the exception. To edit the exception, click on the Edit checkbox. You can only edit the exceptions if you have access to create the exception. A lock will appear if you do not have the ability to edit the exception. Edit the exception as needed and click on the Save button when completed. The Profile tab contains the student default program, minor, and concentration information. Click on the Profile down arrow and then the Programs. Students will have access to their self-service audit the same way as they do in the DARS Web Audit through the My ASU under My Programs and eVisor. Any other questions or issues, please contact your college encoder. Thank you very much.